Well, joining us here today, we have the captain of the Dapto Canaries, Tom Freebairn, former Wests Tigers player, played 5 NRL games. Thanks for joining us, Tom. How are you?
No, I'm going really good, and thank you for having me on. What a privilege to be able to come and have a yarn with you.
No, thank you. All right, I got some questions here for you. You've been to the highest heights in the game playing in NRL. What's it like to be back coaching your junior club in Dapto?
I think the biggest thing is we've all been sort of one of those little young fellas running around watching NRLs do their NRL players do their thing, and being able to go back to my hometown and give back, and then also be a role model for the young kids in the community, and then also my own kids.
Yeah, and you were born in Ipswich, but you're an Illawarra junior. Where did your rugby league journey begin, and do you consider yourself a New South Welshman or a Queenslander?
So I'll go down the New South Welsh and Queenslander path because it's very touchy at the moment, especially after Origin 1. But as a young fella, I always believed state of origin was where you originated. So I was a Queenslander for quite a long time. Now, people don't hate me and yell at me for that, but yeah, I was a Queenslander at first, and then I actually made a New South Wales team, and it's quite funny, actually bred to hate each other. So I was sitting there going, hang on, do I hate myself right now? So it was quite confusing. But after about that sort of 13 years old, I realised, okay, no, I'm a New South Welshman. And my junior footy, I played for the mighty Dapto Canaries since I was about 4 years old. And then, as you said, I went on to go to Sydney and play at some pretty high levels and, represent my community and myself, at the highest level.
Well, it's good to hear. I've got a mate who's an Illawarra junior who goes for Queensland, and I just don't think it adds up. But so you made your local first grade debut for Dapto at just 16 years old. Now, the Illawarra League's one of the toughest competitions in the state. What was that experience like?
Terrifying at first. To be fair, going against men. I've got a couple of pretty funny little stories. So the first one is I actually have changed the rules around that. So you're not allowed to be that young. You actually need to be, I think it could be 18 now. So you actually got to be, I guess, an adult. And that's a pretty cool little bit of history about myself. And then another thing as well, and it doesn't age very well as you get older, but I remember sitting on the bench as a 16-year-old kid and sitting next to a bloke, and he goes, how old are you? And I said, I'm 16. He goes, yeah, wow. And I said, how old are you? And he goes, 26. And I thought he was so old. I thought he was the oldest bloke in the world at 26. So, but mate, it was awesome. And to have that conversation, and it's quite funny that the first grade coach had to ask my dad for permission for me to play against men. So, but mate, it was awesome. It was a Friday night at Shell Harbour. And I remember the coach said to me, I'm going to put you on early. And he said, just run as hard as you do, like you do when you play under 16s and 18s. And I did that, and it didn't work out. I got smashed, got up, licked my wounds, and got on with the game. But it was a pretty cool experience.
So what year would that have been? Because Shell Harbour was in the Illawarra League. That would have been before 2013 then. Yeah,
I think it was. Actually, it could have been 2012. And I actually played a rip snorter beforehand. So playing in the under 18s, I think I scored 2. So I was on a high, and then as I said, I had that first carry, and that wasn't too good after that. But it was awesome, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had a pretty meteoric rise from there, obviously up through the Western Suburbs Magpies pathway system all the way to the Wests Tigers. And you debuted in round 21 of 2022, went on to play 5 games through the back end of that year. In the second last round, you did your ACL, and you chose to still play in the last round where you completely destroyed your knee and never played another NRL game. Do you have any regrets about this decision?
Absolutely not. I know that probably sounds pretty wild to some people. So an ACL is a pretty serious injury, and it was my second one at the time. And someone like yourself, mate, and absolutely rugby league diehards and even sporting diehards, you would give absolutely anything to play 1 second at the highest level. So I had that in the back of my mind. And to be fair, I actually thought I was pretty sweet. Like my knee felt fine, and I had to go through some pretty extensive fitness testing and sign a few waivers to say that I wouldn't sue the club. And credit to the Tigers, they gave me every opportunity to do that. As I said, I have no regrets. I'd do it all again, which is terrible because you put your body through the ringer. But as I said, anyone would do that to play 1 second. So, yeah, I'd definitely do it again.
Well, I don't think there's anyone else in this room who's played 5 NRL games, so that's an achievement. It's what is the importance of rugby league to the community of Dapto and surrounding suburbs now that you're back here? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, definitely. And it's actually quite funny. A really cool example about it being really strong for the community. My little fella, he does Little Kickers, which is a little soccer program, and their coach come up to me and said, "Oh, good win on the weekend," and I thought she was talking about the Tigers, and no, she was talking about us at Dapto. So we had a pretty close win, and we got a really good win, and it was the first one of the year, and it blew my mind that someone who's involved in soccer in a completely different sport was still watching. And then the community feel for it. Like as I said, my family love going, and I've tried to make it a family sort of setting and environment. So for Dapto and those surrounding areas, like if I go into a little bit more depth, I'm actually Coonawarra boy, so bit of a rougher area, and it kept and keeps a lot of kids out of trouble as well. So I think it's huge for the community of Dapto and the surrounding areas, as it keeps kids out of trouble, keeps them busy, and then that family feel, nothing better than people getting around you and getting on the bandwagon. It's awesome. I
didn't know you were a Coonawarra boy, same as Tyrell Sloan on the Dragons team that have finally got a win on the weekend. Shout out to the Dragons, all Coonawarra people up the Dragons.
Exactly.
Now, as we know, Dapto is a rapidly growing community. There's lots of new subdivisions going up out there, but it's also a historic club going back to 1911. How does rugby league and the Dapto club help in bringing the diverse Illawarra community together?
Well, I think it's exactly what we were just talking about, that family vibe, but it's also, there's nothing better than beating the suburb over. Like it's being competitive.
West.
And yeah, exactly. West Devils.
Here we go, hoping for the try.
Yeah, well, don't score too many. So, and I'll carry on, as you can see. How good's that? But yeah, so there's nothing better than competing with your rival towns and having that one up on them and whatnot. It's always good fun. And when you see someone out or seeing them in the street and whatnot, you can sort of have that little bit of banter with them. But in the community, I spoke about it a little bit. Illawarra is a breeding ground for rugby league talent and sporting talent, really, but we'll talk about rugby league. It is a breeding ground for rugby league talent, and some people don't go on to play at the highest level, but they do go to play at some pretty high levels. And some of the biggest success stories are people that do that, people that have come from struggle or whatnot. So growing the Illawarra community through rugby league is huge, and Dapto do play a pretty significant role in that, as being one of the prestigious clubs. And I might be a bit biased here, but I do love the club, and I really do think that Illawarra is on the up and up in rugby league, and it'll just keep growing, and hopefully we get more teams in there as well.
Yeah, and how are the Canaries going under your coaching so far this year? Obviously, we're 6 rounds into the comp now.
Yeah, we're 6 rounds in. We had a washout round on the weekend, but at the moment I'm 50%. So 1-2, lost 2, and it's actually been quite interesting. So I won a close one, I lost a close one. We won pretty convincingly, and then unfortunately we copped a bit of a flogging. But that's rugby league, and that's how we learn. Mate, it's been a challenge in itself. Going from being a leader, as in a captain for a long time at sort of that New South Wales Cup level, and being a leader throughout clubs and systems and stuff like that. Coaching's a whole other thing, and it's fun dealing with personalities and some of the politics behind it, like certain situations. But mate, it's enjoyable. I love it, and the biggest thing is seeing people get skills or pick up little things along the way that you've given them. So it's awesome.
What's the goal for this season? Obviously, you said you're 2-2. So yeah, what's the goal for 2026 for the Canaries?
I'll be unrealistic and win and never lose again. So I think the biggest thing is to try and replicate what we did last year. So last year we finished 3rd, and then we ended up bowing out just before a grand final. So if we can replicate something like that and then go one better, we're playing in a grand final and playing for a pretty big trophy and a prestigious sort of honour. So to do that and then develop young lads, as I've spoken about, like there's nothing better than seeing a 23-year-old fellow get something and then go on to the next level and create their own journey and their own path.
Yeah, and my final question for you, what do you enjoy the most about playing community footy? Obviously, as I said, you've been to the NRL, you've played at the professional game, but what do you enjoy most about community league?
Well, I've travelled a lot. I've always lived in Dapto, so to play for the Tigers, I had to travel to Concord and Liverpool and Leichhardt. And before I was there, I had to travel a lot to North Sydney as well. So I guess I don't know, I think just being at home, being one with the community, and having my personal family there, like sometimes it was quite hard to travel and get there. So having that and then playing with guys that, like you spoke about, Tyrell. So I went to school with Tyrell. We went to Coonawarra Public School together, and so playing at those sorts of levels, you sort of disconnect from community and home. So being able to play with guys that have been Dapto legends almost is absolutely awesome. And yeah, living 2 minutes away from the training paddock always helps as well. So it's awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Tom. One of a number of Dapto legends. Obviously, Paul McGregor's another one. As I said, Tyrell, Blake Laurie. So they're a great club, the Canaries, and really appreciate you coming on for a chat today.
No, mate, I appreciate it too, and thank you, and up the Canaries.
Up the Canaries. I can't be too biased as a journo, but hopefully it'll be a good story if Dapto can get the win this year.